Hey everybody, welcome back to the Green Eyed Girl podcast. So, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, I have been watching a trend go on that bothers me very, very deeply, and I want to talk about because people need to start having their own free thought, otherwise, all you are is controlled. So, this applies especially to the right wing, but fundamentally applies to anyone, anywhere, ever. But the right has had this tendency of saying, oh, the people are sheep for having listened to the mainstream media for all this time, blah, blah, blah. If you just implicitly trust your favorite people and you don't fact check them and you don't go listen to people in their own words, you just trust what someone else has to say about them, you are just as much of a sheep as anyone you've ever made fun of. So, welcome back to the Green Eyed Girl podcast. We're going to break this down. All right, so I've seen multiple smear campaigns this last couple weeks. I've seen ones against Ben Shapiro. I've seen them against Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Ian Carroll. The list just goes on and on and on. And I've seen these smear campaigns before, so they're pretty easy to spot once you've seen them once. But let's go all the way back to 2020 when the majority of us woke up because the mainstream media ran this full-fledged Operation Mockingbird campaign telling us how scary COVID was. So a big part of the reason I woke up to all of this is we were in full-fledged lockdown before I had any idea that COVID was a thing. My life literally hadn't changed, not at all. I was getting up and going to work every day. I was going home. I'm a creature of habit, so I tended to hit the grocery store at the same day a week. And I went to go to the grocery store, and there were 8 million people in the parking lot, and the shelves were empty. And I picked up the phone, and I called my mom, and I said, what on earth is going on? And she said, they're shutting down the world. I said, what? My life hadn't changed, so I knew 100% COVID wasn't actually what they were saying it was, because if it was, something would have happened, okay? So I went into COVID knowing this is pretty well BS. Got it. But then I started watching the media and I realized they're all saying the same thing. They were parroting talking points. We've all seen the compilation clips. Joe Rogan likes to play them on his show, where every single news outlet said the exact same thing. So that was 2020. So I've seen this. Big psyop. Great. December of 2022 comes along. And Andrew Tate's going to jail. Never really heard of Andrew Tate. He was kind of like the boogeyman, okay? I'd kind of heard his name bantered around, but I didn't know anything about him. Never anybody I was going to go look into. Headlines break. Andrew Tate's going to jail. I had just gotten back on X maybe 2 months prior. Andrew Tate's going to prison. And then the circulation of the hit clips go around. And I'm like, okay, if the guy's going to jail, why do you need the hit clips? I thought that was a fair thing. And it was coming from left, right, and center. I mean, it was people all over the place sharing these hit clips. And I watched it and I was like, okay, this looks bad. But clearly these are like, short snippets taken out of larger videos. So I went tracking it down. And of course, you can't find them anywhere but Rumble. You track it down and you find out that the majority of these clips are coming from videos where young men are doing what young men do and playing the what would you do if game. Okay. For those of you who didn't grow up with a brother in my generation, because my brother and Andrew Tate are in similar age ranges, so I grew up with this being played around my household all the time and had to participate because boys are going to be boys. Okay. A crazy scenario is thrown out and you answer. with how my brother and I in the middle of a lake. What would you do if a bear came up out of this lake right now and all you had to defend yourself with is whatever's in this canoe? Okay? So I start realizing they're playing kind of a raunchy version of it. And I'm like, okay, so I get this. I understand. These are, young 20s guys being young 20s guys. And for me, that I come from that era. So I could sit and I could take offense to it, or I just chose to look at it and go, okay, so they pulled clips out of a game, a stupid game, a boy game, and they made a hit compilation. That automatically sent off alarm bells. Why are they doing this? Why do we have to smear him? He's going to jail. If he's going to jail and it were legit, he wouldn't have to be smeared. It wouldn't have to be this big media campaign. To me, this was like COVID and Me Too all over again. So I went back and I started finding interviews. And I'm a fan of Zuby. I've been a fan of Zuby for a long time. He's like the world's most positive guy on X. If you don't follow him, you should, simply because he finds a way to put a positive spin on everything. So I realized Zuby's done an interview with Andrew Tate. I'll watch that. Zuby's somebody that I appreciate. He's just an all-around general good dude. We have similar ideology. So I got on and I watched Andrew Tate's interview with Zuby, and I realized Andrew Tate's not what they're saying that he is. He's not some crazy misogynist. As a matter of fact, he's saying very similar things to what was being said in my household growing up. Men and women are different. They have different roles in life. They have different roles in the relationship. Women should be protected. Men should be honorable and disciplined. And I was like, oh, okay. So then, of course, I went down and I started watching all kinds of Andrew Tate content. And I watched him basically grow up through the years because, of course, I'm coming into this late. So all of his old videos are out there, the stupid machete comments and all about beating a woman with a machete. Clearly a joke. If you have any brain whatsoever in your head, it's clearly a joke. So I went through and I watched all of this and I was like, okay, so they're smearing this guy and this is bullshit. Got it. Done. And guys, to have watched that one go on, because it's still going on, grow up. So fast forward to now. And of course, I've watched Candace get drugged through the mud 15 times. I've been watching them drag Tucker into it. He went from being like hero to evil because he got new information. He grew up. That's what we do in life. You're supposed to evolve and learn and grow. If you don't, if you're just stagnant and you just want to keep believing the same thing for your entire life, that's fine. You'll perpetually be a teenager. So I've been watching these smear campaigns go on for a while, but the ones surrounding Charlie Kirk are unreal. And they're more than I've seen in the past. What I mean by that is they're literally putting words into people's mouths that have never been said, can't be inferred, because they actually said the exact opposite. The first one is Ben Shapiro, and I'm not a big Ben Shapiro fan. I listened to him every day prior to COVID, and during COVID, when he just kept saying we were stupid for not taking the vax, which been vindicated on that point too, I was done. I'm not going to sit and listen to somebody tell me that I'm stupid. Okay, get fucked, Ben Shapiro. But I'm not a Ben Shapiro fan. But everybody took, and I watched it was mostly Groypers on X. They took like a 5-second snippet out of a larger monologue that Ben Shapiro gave, where he said, we will pick up the bloodied microphone from right where Charlie Kirk dropped it. And the Anon Groypers went ape on X and spread this whole thing. Ben Shapiro's going to take over Turning Point USA and blah, 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 blah. Automatically, I know that's not true. Ben Shapiro has the Daily Wire. That is a beast of a company to manage. And they've gone through some rough times in the last couple years. They got really, really big and they've had to downsize. They've had some changes in management. That's a lot to keep up with. And Ben Shapiro does speaking tours and his own daily show. Like, the man has a lot going on. He already doesn't have time to be taking over Turning Point USA. So I already knew, like, common sense dictates there's no freaking way that he said that. And from a 5-second video, that doesn't make any sense. And of course, then everybody was like, he's hosting Charlie's show. It's a takeover. So dramatic, guys. Charlie's friends have come out of the woodwork. And make no mistake, Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro have been friends for years. Ben Shapiro was one of the people that Charlie Kirk looked up to in his coming up. So, yeah, it makes sense that the Daily Wire guys would host his show when they're bringing in his friends to host the show. It makes a lot of sense, okay? Doesn't mean he's taking over, blah, 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 lots of drama. But I went and I was like, all right, you guys are you got to be pulling this clip out of context. So I went to Ben's show on Ben's platform. Big thing to do, guys. Go watch people in their context, okay? Clips can be clipped out in any way. Sometimes I clip mine and people take it personal. Grow up. But I went and I watched it, and it was actually a rather lovely 5-6 minute monologue about, you know, if you're going to cut Charlie down, we're going to pick up the mantle. We're going to go pick up the bloody microphone from where it landed on the ground, and we're coming back to college campuses, which is the best thing ever. Again, I don't like Ben Shapiro, guys, but you know what college students should be exposed to? Everyone. Everyone. Young people should be exposed to all of the different types of thought. They should be exposed to discourse from different ideologies so that they can actually grow up and become contributing citizens. We've removed that. We've just dictated how this is how you think for too long. So you know what? It's a great thing that Ben Shapiro is coming back to college campuses. It's a great thing that Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh and Tucker Carlson and Destiny. It's a great thing that Destiny's back. Glad he's coming around on college campuses again, because that guy's a doofus. And now the whole world knows, okay? So actually what Ben Shapiro said was rather lovely. And in no way was he saying, I'm taking over Turning Point USA. No, it's just more shit to divide people and turn them against each other, when really Ben said kind of what everybody was thinking, which is, hey, you killed the nice guy. I'm coming back. Because, guys, Ben Shapiro owns, like, forever will own the minds of people from my generation from when we were in college, okay? He decimated people. And Ben was not nice about it, okay? He's got an ego the size of Texas, and he's sharp. He makes people look like idiots, so I'm glad he's going back. It's fun. Again, I don't agree with like half of his worldview, but it's still a good thing for people to be exposed to. So automatically, like, debunked. I'm tired of seeing it. You guys are completely ridiculous. And then they get on and start saying that Tucker Carlson is saying that it was Israel. No, Tucker Carlson got on and said, hey, these people are lying about Charlie's spot in life and how he was feeling, and the people who were making him feel like he was emotionally blackmailed or like someone from outside of his organization was trying to control it. They're the ones out here spreading this narrative. So, of course, bring on Megyn Kelly, because Charlie was literally just on her show a couple of weeks prior, the week prior, actually, to his passing, talking exactly about how pressured he felt to keep Tucker off the stage, to keep Candace out, to keep saying certain things. It was in Charlie's own words, guys, and then the people who were making him feel that way came out and were like trying to steal his legacy and steal his voice, which is objectively bullshit, okay? If I ever get to a point where I'm, big enough that it actually matters when I die and I'm not just a number and a face in the crowd, please, please don't let the losers take my voice, okay? So, everybody, Tucker didn't say anything about who killed him. He simply said, hey, these guys coming out and talking like this and trying to sway public opinion on what Charlie had to say and Charlie's worldview and all of these things, they shouldn't get to do that. Tucker didn't say anything about the reason Charlie Kirk was assassinated outside of he was assassinated because he spread the word of God, which is accurate. It's fundamentally accurate. But Tucker didn't say anything about Israel being involved in Charlie Kirk's death. Not a word. I listened to all of the shows. I listened to him on his show, on Charlie's show, on the stage at Charlie's Memorial. Never said anything like that. Okay? Go listen to what people actually say. You don't have to agree with them, but you do have to listen to what they say and then go back on X and look at what people are saying that they said. Okay? Candace did a lovely memorial episode to Charlie, and then when the FBI started being shady, because let's be real, the FBI is being real shady. It's what they do, okay? When the FBI started being shady, she started deep diving into the murder of her friend. Okay, this was an assassination of someone who she's been very close to for many, many years. And automatically everybody came out and said that she was saying it was Israel, when actually on her show, she explicitly said, I don't see any evidence that makes me believe that Israel was involved. This, to me, looks like a U.S. federal government operation, which is also, by the way, where she still stands, okay? So my point with this is, if you just look at what people say, other people, external, what they say and what their opinions are, you have farmed out your free thought to someone else. I routinely go and listen to people in their own words. And if I can suffer through Don Lemon, because I don't even let people smear Don Lemon, okay? I don't believe people smear of Don Lemon. As easy as it would be, I'm still going to go and listen to Don Lemon because it's too easy to clip people and make them look worse than they are or say things that they didn't say. So I don't let someone else's opinion of a person color mine. And I don't implicitly trust what everyone has to say. I just don't. But I am going to go hear out what that person had to say and at least have the knowledge of these are the words that came out of their mouth. And then when I get on X, which is a crazy public forum, and I see the people who are lying explicitly about the words that came out of that person's mouth, I at least know that their credibility shot in my mind. I will never believe another word they have to say because either they're ignorant, they form their opinion off of someone else's opinion, or they're being paid. And I don't care which category that they fall into. I'm not going to sit and take their opinion on someone else's words as fact. I refuse. I vehemently refuse. As should you all. We have to stop living in a world where the mass psyops, no matter who they come from, no matter where they come from, shut down your rational thought. We are coming into AI. Most of this BS has come from a bunch of Anon accounts. Now, there's a lot of the Candace stuff that's coming from rather big name accounts that actually have people behind them. I understand. I think a lot of them are paid shills. Don't care. Regardless, too many of these accounts are just anonymous. Do you know how easy it is to make a bot? You can just take AI and make a bot and you can spread whatever you want and you can make an entire army of them that just repeat things. So Operation Mockingbird Online is just inundating with information from Anon accounts. If you don't wake up and start going to that person's actual platform and watching what that person has to say in their own words and using your brain and having some free thought, the government's going to strip us of everything, okay? Because you can frame anyone however you want. You guys can think Andrew Tate is some horrible degenerate. That's fine. Some of his behavior and some of his words are degenerate. I don't agree with everything he has to say. Clearly I don't. I'm married to a wonderful man, okay? I don't buy into everything he says. We don't share the exact same worldview. But I'm also not going to let a bunch of people smear and smear and smear and smear and spread all of these lies off of videos from 20 years ago when he was young and dumb and just putting random crap on the internet like a shitload of people did back then, playing the what would you do if game, and take that as, oh, he's definitely a human trafficker. Grow up. Grow up. You can be mad all day, every day, that Piers Morgan says that he's a vile, evil misogynist. Guess what, Piers Morgan? I don't agree with your assessment. Watch the whole freaking video. He's freaking right. Gotcha. Okay? Stop letting these people smear other people and build a framework in your mind. Go watch them in your own words. If you go watch Andrew Tate on Piers Morgan from the other day, and you want to think that the words coming out of his mouth make him a vile, evil misogynist, good on you. At least you listened to his words and what he actually said. That's my main point. I don't care what you end up believing at the end of the day. And you can think whatever the crap you want to think about me. I don't care. But listen to the words that I say. Listen to the words that Piers Morgan says, Ben Shapiro says, Don Lemon says. And I hate saying that because half the crap that comes out of Don Lemon's mouth is just like ridiculous shenanigans. But go listen to him, because if you listen to someone else tell you what to think about Don Lemon, you're ignorant. You're shutting down your higher thought. Clearly, this is something I'm super passionate about. I'm a little worked up right now. But for the love of everything, people, please, please go find out who people are and what they have to say in their own words, on their own platforms, and don't let someone else control your mind. I don't care who they are. I don't care if you're a Nick Fuentes fan and he's telling you what to think about Don Lemon. Don't do it. Because he might be completely correct. Okay, Nick's right about a lot of stuff. But if you form your opinion of someone else off of another person's opinion, they have thought for you. You didn't think for yourself. So please, I'm begging you all to grow up and use your brains. I know we've all had 12 years minimum of the education system telling us how to think, how to behave, what to believe, and all of that. Throw it out the window, usurp the system, and have a lovely freaking day.